Good morning. Today's class is about communications. Now, it is the in core of communications. Means a verbal communications with one-to-one pattern. Now, start with the every company uh, when they are searching for any new employee, they find the five quality within their employee. So, what are the five qualities that to have in a job seeker? Okay, the five quality of communications. First is the communication skill in both way, in verbal and in written. First, second is strong work ethics. Is the second. Third is the teamwork skill. Teamwork skill. Fourth is initiative to any job or any initiative to any job or other work. And fifth is the analytical skill of the employee. Okay. So here one word in three which is teamwork skill. Okay. So there are the words leader, team leaders, and team. Okay. So if first is you must believe in team. This is the idea. You put it in your brain that you have to believe in your team. Why? Because what the word team means actually. Team means is that together everyone achieves more. That is TEAM. Together everyone achieves more. So when you doing any job in single hand, your percentage of job done will be low. But if you are in a team, then your achievement will be high in team than your what you are doing in alone. So team is always greater than any individual. So that is the positive point of any team formations. Okay. So every team has a leader. Obviously, team works with a pattern, policy, ethics, but they are guided or led by a leader, team leader. And leading of a team is another ability of a employee. Is there any leadership ability within you to handle or maintain a team or not? So that is a positive quality. There is leadership to handle any team in any job, to get down any job. Okay. Now, so basically there are 8 components. What are the components of this communications? Okay. Communications have 8 components. As you see, it is a source first, from which source it is started. Second is the what is the message actually? What is the message? Third is the channel through which the communication goes, communications run. There is a channel. Then is the receiver, the point which it is received. Then fifth is what are the feedback? What are the feedback of that communications? Then environment, in which environment the communication goes on. Then context of the communications, in what perspective of the communication, there is the context. And the last is the interference. Okay. So every time the source generate the message, and one point it is receiver who receive the message. Okay. And in between the space between the sender and the receiver, it is known as the channel. So it is the channel. So channel is the main source of the interference. If someone is ordering or someone is requesting something to someone, and there is a problem of hearing, or there is a problem of understanding, then we call it is a noise in the channel. There is a noise in the channel. That someone is not understanding something or not hearing something, that there is a noise in the channel. Okay. So it is a transactional model between a sender and a receiver, and it is true in both cases. When you are talking with someone face to face, it is true, and when also you are talking in telephone, over the telephone or over the mobile you are talking, it is also true. You are the sender of the part of the communication, and who one is received the telephone in the other part, the point of the receiver, and in between the system there is the channel interference and all feedback and noise, all the matters in between these two. Now there is which is important, that is the business communication. It is an apart subject, it is an itself a subject, business communications. So there are established 7C in the business communications. They are known as 7C. So seven word which is starting with C. So what are the word? Sorry, the word first. So creditability in the first, courtesy in the second, clarity, correctness, consistency, concreteness, and conciseness. So these are the 7 C's of any communications. So what is credibility? Credibility, this is the building of trust. Actually, builds trust. It is important. Okay. What is courtesy? You have to maintain your courtesy, your junior, senior, friends. You have to maintain courtesy, because you have to always you have to try to improve the relationship. That is basically the work, actually, to improve every relationship, and you have to maintain your juniors, seniors, sir, madam, Mr., Mrs., friends. Okay, these are all the general courtesy points. Clarity is a thing which makes makes the comprehensive easier. Okay, so clarity means the other side, it is easy for him to understand what you are writing or what you are saying about. Okay, so that the comprehensive is easier. Correctness, always a thing which build the confidence of the sender, or confidence of the source point who is generate the message. It is the build is conference. Okay, consistency is also a word which is the actually determines or actually locate your stability. So it is related to stability. Conciseness, always if you concise something, it is always save your time. That is the main point of the conciseness, that it can save your time, it can save your energy. So try to concise everything, not to elaborate all the things. These are the 7 C's. Alternatively, side by side, there are 4 S of the communication also. There are 4 S's. That is the 4 word which is starting with S. This is the 4 S. Okay. Shortness is the first. Simplicity, another says simplicity. Strength is the and sincerity. Okay. This is the 4 S's of the communications. So it is said that if you use 7C and 4S in your communication, that communication will be perfect, and that will be an effective communications. That will be effective communication. What is effective communication? Effective communication means it is accurate transmissions of message, accurate receipt of message, and correct understanding at the 2 point. That will be an effective communication. So there are 3 characters of the effective communication. First one is an accurate transmissions, accurate receipt, and correctly understanding, correct understanding. Okay, these 3 are the basic character of an effective communications. Though we can say if you are using 7C in a proper way or 4S in a proper way, you have to be able to generate a perfect communications or effective communications. Okay, now sender to receiver is an unit. There are so many barriers. Okay, those are commonly known as the barriers of the communications, barriers towards communication or barrier to communications. So we have some external factors which are related to the barriers of communication. There are some organizational factors which is the barriers of communications, and we have some personal factor, which is sometimes personal factor is also a thing. Sometimes they are also the barriers of the communications. Okay, when we are talking about the external barrier, What is an external barrier? External barrier means that for external barrier are the two types. One is semantic, one thing, SCMAN. Semantic barrier is the thing, and second one is an emotional barrier. So this type, two types of barrier. First, semantic. If we talking about semantic barrier, what is semantic barrier? Semantic is a, if we badly expressed or faulty translations or unclassified assumptions or any specialist language. These are all the semantic barrier. Maybe the other who is hearing is not understand the proper. Okay, so and the second is the, in case of external, second is the emotional barrier is the second, emotional barrier. That's the in case of emotional barrier, inattention is the main, inattention, that is the not attentive. Okay, not attentive, it is a barrier actually. And maybe this the hearing loss due to transmissions, it is also a external barrier, hearing loss due to transmissions. And third one is the failure to communicate with the others, failure to communicate, that is also the part of emotional barrier, which is actually considered as the external barrier. Now the second category of the barrier is the organizational barrier, which is categorized under organizational barrier. That is your organization policy. Okay, your organization policy is an organizational barrier. The rules and regulations, which is rules and regulation with the organizations, is also a barrier. Your status and the related complexities, status and status related complexities is also a problem of the organizations. And facility is a big problem with the organization. If you working in an organization and they have no proper facilities to communicate with the others, so that is a problem with the employee to communicate perfectly with the others. That is a problem actually. Okay, so rules and regulations, it is how or how much organization permits you to communicate with the others, that is the point. Okay, now the third segment, which is a personal barrier, which is important because it is personal barrier, the superior and subordinate, the 2 point. If you are working in a position, so there is someone who is your superior, there will be someone who is a junior, subordinate. In job place, I am talking about in the space of working place, I am talking about the working place. So in your position, there will be a superior position who will be on the above you, and there will be a subordinate position who will be below you. Okay, so so I think attitude towards superior or attitude towards subordinate, okay, challenge with the authority, or challenge with the superior, or challenge with the subordinates, challenge with the lower levels of worker, lack of awareness, either lack of confidence as a worker. These are the personal level of barriers which is to communicate. Yeah, if you have some weakness and you are not clearly telling someone about your weaknesses, so your senior never understood what is the point of your weakness actually. Okay, so that type of communications barrier actually is a communication barrier, that you are not ready to speak about your weakness to your subordinate or to your superior. So that is a kind of barrier actually. Now lack of confidence is a lack of confidence is a word actually. It is not that you know everything or you can handle everything. Maybe you have a confidence in a particular field and you can do the work better than anyone, but it is not that you are confident in all sphere. So where there is any problem with the job or problem with any confidence, you have always to um, analyze or discuss the pattern of job with your seniors or juniors to to complete or to complete the works or to complete the job. So it is not a problem, but there are so many workers, they have this communication problem to analyze the work with the subordinate. They take this thing as a problem. Why I analyze my job to my subordinates or juniors, but it is not that, because discussion or group discussion, any type of on any pattern, a group meeting or group decision is always fruitful than taking a decision solely alone. It is important. Okay, and when you get the factor, you take, there are the, so there are barriers, something, there are factors which can help you communication. Parallelly, there are some barriers which can affect your communications. So all this, it is a lack of awareness. You have to aware about the importance of the communication, why in what sphere and why we communicate this. This is important. Okay, so yeah, and in that case, the two things which can affect mostly. One is the, if you have any mental block, then you will not be interested in any communication. It is a minus point. And second, the lack of interest. You are not at all interested to communicate with others. So lack of interest is a major problem, and the mental block, because many one thinks that if I am trying to explain something to my superior, that will be always end with arguments and fighting. No, it is not all the times. It is not all the times that everyone is ready to argument with you. It is not that. It is not that, but it is type of mental block, and that's why the position is to be, they become an open minded. That is the six among the six core step. One core is to be be open minded, take every decision openly, and give every decision openly, so that whether it is be superior or whether it is subordinate, it is not the problem. So personal barrier is the major mental block, actually gives rise to the unwillingness to communicate. If you are in a problem, if you are in an internal problem, or if you are in a family problem, then in much cases you are unwilling to communicate with the others. Maybe this communication will help you to get better, but you are not ready to communicate with the others. It is basically the unwillingness towards any type of communications. And lack of interest is an if you are lacking of interest, then it is not that someone it is not that someone is not interested in anything. It is not that. And you have an interest point, someone have another interest point, so you have to find your interest point. It is true that you cannot give rise to interest in everything. It may happen, but you have a specific zone of interest. So you have to find your interest point, and on that interest point, when you are on that interest point, in that case, you have to get communicated or get discussed with your subordinates or superiors. So in your interest, if it is not in your interest point, you may not communicate, but if it is your interest point, you have to communicate with the others. Okay, now so external communication is a part, external barrier is a part, organizational barrier is a part, and personal barrier is a part. Every barrier, there are every factors have remedies. Okay, so external barrier, organizational barrier, and personal barrier, and there are so many remedies to overcome external barrier. There are so many remedies to overcome organizational barrier, and also there are remedies for to overcome personal barrier. It is not that the barrier is a barrier and you cannot superskip these things. There are remedies. Okay, so jot down everything, enter into a healthy discussions, friendly behavior with the others, being open-minded, um, a courtesy maintenance with the junior seniors, behave properly. All these things can help you to get better in communications with the others. Thank you.